Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel CBSE Simplified. My name is Anupam Mishra and today we are going to discuss this story. The name of the story is The Adventures of Toto. This story is chapter number 2, Moments for class 9th English. This story is written by Ruskin Bond. He's a very famous Indian British writer. Why I'm saying Indian British writer? Because he was born to British parents. But later on, when his parents left, he stayed in India, and now he is actually a citizen of India, and he lives in Missouri at the present time. And as we know, Ruskin Bond is a very famous writer. He has written more than 500 short stories, essays, and novels, and which include around 70 books written for children. And he's a very well-known and very renowned English writers at the present time. He also has won several awards like Sahitya Academy Award. He has won Padma Shri Award and Padma Vibhushan Award. He has also won. So let's talk about the story. This was all about the writer of the story, the Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond presently lives at Missouri. In this story, The Adventures of Toto. Toto is the name of a monkey. What happens in the story? The writer's grandfather, he was very much fond of keeping various animals at his private place, and he had a very small zoo. So one day what happens, he was going somewhere and he found that there was a monkey, and the monkey was in a very uncomfortable state. So he showed pity on that monkey and he decided to buy that monkey. So he pays 5 rupees to the owner of the monkey and brings that monkey to his home. This is how the story starts. So let's read. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough. This word is pronounced as trough, T-R-O-U-G-H. And the monkey looked so out of the place that the grandfather decided that he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. So as I said in the first paragraph, text talks about how this Toto, which is the name of a monkey, was brought to the grandfather's house. So the grandfather was going somewhere, like I said, and he saw there was a Tonga driver who had this monkey, and he had tied this monkey to a feeding trough. Trough is a kind of a vessel. It could be made of iron or it could be made of clay also, wherein it is used for feeding animals. So he saw there was a little red monkey, and the monkey looked so out of the place. That means the monkey was very uncomfortable. He was very disconnected. So he decided to buy this monkey. So he pays 5 rupees to the owner of the monkey, who was a Tonga driver. And because the idea behind buying this monkey was the grandfather already had a private zoo, and there were several animals that he had kept. So he decided that if he buys this monkey, it will actually add he could add this little monkey to his private zoo. So that is how he pays the money and brings the money to his house. Toto was a pretty monkey. Pretty means beautiful, attractive, good looking. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of the elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. So Toto, this paragraph talks about the Toto's appearance, how he looked. He was a very attractive and very pretty monkey, and he had very bright eyes that actually used to sparkle just beneath the eyebrows that the monkeys have. And he has a set of teeth which were pearly white, which were very white. And he often used to show his teeth just to frighten the elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. Anglo-Indian ladies, as we can understand, when the Britishers were here, several British officers had Indian wives. So this is how this term has come into existence, Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, because grandfather believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, and also served as a third hand. So apart from having deep eyebrows and sparkling eyes and pearly white teeth, he also had a long tail. His hands were very dried. His hands are compared with the pickle. If you keep pickle in sunlight for many years it becomes dried. So his hands are actually compared with the pickle, which was actually dried up in the sun for many years. And his fingers were very quick. He had a set of fingers which were very quick in action, and he also had a tail. As we all know, this all monkeys, they possess a tail, because the grandfather believed. Why he's saying that these all things made this monkey look very attractive and very pretty, because he thought that if anyone has a tail, it can actually add something to his personality. If a person has a tail, it can look more attractive and more pretty. And in case of monkeys and these kind of animals, monkeys sometimes use their tail as a third hand, as an additional hand. They can use his tail for various purposes. And the writer explains this in the next 2 lines also. He says that he could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of the reach of his hands. So you might have observed sometimes monkeys use their tail for various purposes. Here the writer is trying to tell us that the monkey used to hang from the tree branches, and he was able of scooping up any delicacy. Delicacy here means any kind of food which was delicious to eat. So he was able to grab that food from anywhere, even if he was not able to reach there, but still he somehow managed to steal that food out of the people's hands. The grandmother always was always first when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So it was decided that Toto's present should be kept as a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. So in this story there are 3 characters. One is the monkey himself, and the writer, and his grandfather and his grandmother. So there are 4 characters in the story. So we talked about monkey in the first 2 paragraphs. We talk about the grandfather, and the story is written by the writer himself, so he is present in the story. And he says in this paragraph he talks about his grandmother. Grandmother was a very confused, very fuzzy lady. Fuzzy means someone who becomes angry he could become angry for just on anything. Without any particular reason, the person gets angry. So the grandmother was a very fuzzy kind of lady. And why? Because every time the grandfather brought some kind of animal, whether it was a bird or an animal, the grandmother always made a cry, always argued as to why the grandfather was bringing so many animals and birds to the house. So it was decided, the grandfather and the writer, they decided that they will not tell the secret that the grandfather had bought another monkey. So they decided it will be kept as a secret, and the secret will be revealed only when they find that the grandmother was in a very good mood. So the grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. So what they did, the writer had his own personal room, and there was a little closet. You can compare it with an almirah. So what they did, they kept this monkey in a little closet and tied the monkey with a rope, and and there was a peg which was fastened in the wall. Peg is kind of a metal or a wood which is used to in the wall, wherein you can hang your clothes, and you can hang things upon it, which is in Hindi called khuti. So what they did, they kept the monkey in the closet for some time, because they did not want to reveal the secret that the grandfather had bought a monkey whose name was Toto in the story. Let's move on. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by the grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. So a few hours later, when the grandfather and the writer, they came back, they just wanted to see if everything was okay with the monkey. They found that what the monkey had done, as we all know that monkeys are known as mischievous animals, and they are very funny sometimes, they are very naughty. So what the monkey had done in the meantime, the wall with which he was tied, that wall was actually covered with some kind of ornamental papers. So what the monkey had done, the monkey had torn all the papers and he also took out all the plaster which was there on the wall, and in a few hours the condition of the wall changed completely. Earlier it was very attractive and beautiful, now it looked naked and it looked very ugly. And there was a school blazer of the writer which was hanging on the peg. Peg is in Hindi, as I called it, it's called khoti, on which you hang your clothes. It was torn, it was shredded into pieces. So you can understand in just a few hours what the monkey had done. And I wondered why grandmother would say what grandmother would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. Now the writer was thinking, when the grandmother would see all these things, what would be her reaction? What would she say? But the grandfather was not worried at all. But on the other hand, he was very pleased. He was very happy with what the monkey had done. "He's clever," said the grandfather. "Give time. I'm sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window." See, these lines are very funny. He says if we had given some more time to this monkey, what we would have done, he would have shredded your school blazer into pieces, and from those pieces he would have made a rope, and by using that rope he would have escaped. He would have run away from the window. So his presence in the house still a secret. Toto was now transferred into a big cage, into servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together, and there was a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. So what happened? For a few days it was kept as a secret that the monkey has become a part of grandfather's zoo. And the grandfather had a private zoo. So what happened? They decided that now, after a few days, the monkey Toto has to be transferred into a big cage. There was a big cage, and it was kept in the servants' quarter in the house of the writer. And in that case, there were already a number of pets that used to live very sociably. Sociably means they are very friendly. They used to live in a very friendly manner. And the pets include, there was a tortoise, there were a pair of rabbits, there was a squirrel, and there was a goat also. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. But as we know, the monkeys are very mischievous and very naughty animals. So when the monkey was transferred into the cage wherein all other animals had been living, he would not let animals sleep peacefully. So what the grandfather decided, actually the grandfather had to go to Saharanpur from his place because he was a retired government officer. So he had to go to Dehradun to collect his pension. So from Dehradun he has to go to Saharanpur. So what he decided that he will not leave this monkey behind. He will take this monkey along with him when he goes to Saharanpur from Dehradun. The writer says, "Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. In a big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode." Abode in English means a place to live, a house, you can say. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. So what they did, they made some arrangement. The writer says, I was very sad due to certain circumstances. I was not able to go along with my father as he was going to Saharanpur to collect his pension. But he told me a story after what happened during this train journey. What all things happened. This is something the grandfather described in the story. So they actually made some kind of arrangements. What they did, they arranged a big black canvas. Canvas, as we can understand, it's kind of a cloth which is very strong. So a bag was arranged, and the bag was made of canvas material. So, and they put some kind of straw at the bottom, and this canvas bag became a new place, a new home for the monkey for the time being. And it was closed from all the side. So when the bag was closed from all the side, the monkey was covered and it was not visible from outside. So just say, for example, you keep something in a bag and you close it from all the sides, it is not visible from outside, and nobody can guess what is there inside the bag. So what they did, they arranged the canvas bag, a very big one, put some straw at the bottom and put the monkey and closed the bag. bag, and now it was not visible. And since the canvas is a material which is very strong, so the monkey was not able to tear it. Even if he used his hands and teeth, he was not able to open it. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the ball roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air, an exhibition that attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway station. So they went, the grandfather took his bag and he went to reach the Dehradun railway platform. He had already bought a ticket and he was just waiting for the train to arrive. And since the monkey was inside the canvas bag and no one, or any passenger who was there at the platform had no idea what was inside the bag and what the monkey was doing inside the bag. He was trying to come out. So since the bag was closed from all sides, there was no way for him to come out. So every time he tried, it was in vain. So every time it would look like that the bag started rolling. So whenever the monkey tried to come out, he started jumping inside the bag. So as a result, it started actually rolling onto the platform. Anyone who looked at this bag, they were very surprised because they had no idea how this bag was actually rolling on the floor. So it became actually a matter of attraction for many of the people who were there at the railway platform. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur. So the train reached at Saharanpur railway station and Toto was inside the bag. But while the grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, so Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave a ticket collector a wide grin. So from Dehradun to Saharanpur, no one was able to understand that there was a monkey inside the bag. So the journey was very safe and very comfortable. So when he reached the Saharanpur station and when he was coming out through the railway turnstile, you can understand, you might have seen this, it's kind of a gate which can rotate in all the directions. It's kind of a metal gate and you can go from in to out, from out to in any direction. It can rotate on a central axis. So when he was showing his ticket at this railway turnstile, the ticket collector asked for him to show the ticket. All of a sudden, what happened? Toto somehow he was able to open this bag from some point, and he poked his head out of the bag. And when he looked at the ticket collector, he gave him a wide grin. Grin is a kind of a smile that you give to someone by showing your teeth. So as the monkeys do, you may have noticed, when the monkey they try to smile, they give a wide grin which shows his long teeth. The poor man was taken aback, but with a great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you and you will have to pay for it accordingly." So as he was able to recognize monkey and he was very surprised to see the monkey that was traveling with the grandfather, he said, "No sir, there is a rule in the railway that if you are traveling with a pet, you have to pay for it." And he categorized this monkey as a dog. He says, "Sir, you are traveling with a dog, so you have to pay for it. You have not bought the ticket for him as the rule of the railway. If you are traveling with animals, there is a ticket for it." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that the monkey did not qualify as a dog, and even as a quadruped, Toto was classified a dog by the ticket collector, and the 3 rupees was the sum handed over as his fare. So what the grandfather did, just to convince the ticket collector, he took the monkey out of the bag and he tried to tell him that it was not a dog, it was actually a monkey. But the ticket collector was not convinced, because in railway book rules, monkeys were classified as dogs. So he said, okay, monkey, according to the rules of the railway at the present time, monkeys are classified as dogs, so you actually have to pay for it. And how much you have to pay for it? You have to pay 3 rupees. So the discussion was over. The grandfather decided to pay 3 rupees to the ticket collector. So he paid, and he then comes out of the railway turnstile. He comes out of the railway platform. So this is the story that the grandfather narrated to the writer when he actually came back from his journey from Saharanpur. Then grandfather, just to get his own bag, took from his pocket our pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this, since you charge for all animals?" So the grandfather, to his surprise, and now even as a reader you will also be surprised to see such kind of gesture by the grandfather. He was carrying not only a monkey inside the canvas bag, he was also carrying a small tortoise, and he had kept that small tortoise into his pocket. So when the ticket collector forced the grandfather to pay the sum of 3 rupees as the fare means kiraya, for this little monkey, the grandfather was little annoyed also. So he took the tortoise out of his pocket and showed this tortoise to the ticket collector, and asked the ticket collector, said, since you charge for all the animals, how much should I pay for this? The ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, prodded it with his 4 fingers, and gave grandfather a pleased and triumphant look and said, no charge, it's not a dog. So the ticket collector looked at the tortoise and he prodded. Prodded means you play with the animals by using your fingers on their body. So he said, no sir, there is no charge for this little animal because it doesn't qualify as a dog. So you can go. We are not going to charge anything for this little animal. The grandfather was very happy, and he comes out of the railway platform. And when Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable, where he had for a companion a family donkey. The name of the donkey was Nana. So finally, the secret of Toto's presence in the house was revealed to the grandmother. Grandmother was in a particularly in a very good mood. So she accepted, the presence of Toto. He was given a very comfortable room in the stable. Stable is a place where the horses are kept. So for the time being, he had given some other place, a new place, and this time it was a stable. Stable means a place wherein the horses are kept, and he had a companion there. The grandfather had a family donkey also. The name of the donkey was Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. To his surprise, he found Nana, without apparent cause, pulling at her halter and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. So when he was kept in the stable along with one other animal, and this animal was actually a horse. The name of the horse was Nana. So grandfather decided to see. He just went there to see if everything was okay with the monkey, and if he was comfortable. So when he went there, he saw that the donkey was actually trying to pull her head away from the bundle of hay. Bundle of hay is kind of a food that these animals eat, जिसको बोलते हैं घास का गट्ठर. And halter is a kind of a rope which is used in the head of the horses and donkeys, just to control them. So when the grandfather went there, he noticed that the donkey was trying to pull her halter and trying to keep her head away from the bundle of the hay for some reason. When he noticed very closely what we noticed, the grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches, and she jerked back, dragging Toto in with her. He had fastened onto her long ears with the sharp little teeth. So what the grandfather did, he slapped across her haunches. Haunches is actually the backside of the animals, just above the legs. So what he did, he gave a slap on her haunches, and she actually responded back quickly, and she started running. When she started running, the grandfather noticed that the Toto was being dragged along with this animal. When he looked very closely, he had noticed that this monkey was actually hanging from the ear of this donkey, because he had fastened her long teeth into the ears of Nana. So what he had done here, just trying to explain you, that he was actually trying to bite the long ears of Nana, and he had inserted his long teeth into his ear, and that is why when the donkey started running, the monkey was also dragged along with the donkey. So since then, Toto and Nana never became friends. So it was their first meeting, as we can say. But after that incident, Toto and Nana they never became great friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evening was a large bowl of warm water given him by the grandmother for his bath. So this incident is very funny. Some questions are asked on this, what we are going to read here and what I am going to explain you. There are questions, and I will try to explain this as much as I can. And if you have any doubts, you can ask questions in the comment section, and those who have not subscribed the channel, I request them to subscribe this channel, and if you have any questions or queries, please ask them in the comment section. So what happened during the winter time? Because writer used to live in Dehradun, and we know that Dehradun is a hilly place, and most of the time it is wintry there. The atmosphere is it's quite cold there. So what happened during the winter time? When the winter would come, what the grandmother would do, she will keep a large bowl of warm water, and this water was kept there so that the monkey can take baths. But as we know, the monkeys are very, very cunning and very intelligent animals. So when the bowl of warm water was kept for the monkey to take bath, he will not just suddenly jump into that bowl. What he will do, very cunningly, very smartly, what he would do, he was first check the temperature of the water with his hand. And once he became assured that the temperature was okay to take bath, then he will step into the bathtub. First one foot, then the other, as he had seen me doing, until he was into water up to his neck. So how this habit came to Toto, how he became habitual of doing this, because he had noticed grandfather and the writer doing this kind of activity for many days. Because the grandfather and other members of the family, they would first check the temperature of the water. Once they were convinced that the temperature was okay, then they will put their first leg, then the second leg, and that's how they will go inside the bathtub. And this is what the monkey will do, because he will try to imitate the writer, because he had seen him doing this many a times. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hand or feet and rub himself all over. And when the water became cold, he would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feeling would be hurt, and he would refuse to go on with this bath. One day, Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. So what he will do, he will slip inside that bathtub, and he will take a soap in his hand, and he will start rubbing the soap onto his body and other parts. And after some time, when the water became cold, he would come out of this bathtub, because the temperature was cold, and he will quickly run to the kitchen, wherein in the kitchen there was a fire. And why the fire was there? So that he can dry himself. So when he was doing all these kind of things, if anyone looked at him and anyone laughed at him, he will get annoyed. The monkey will get annoyed, and his feelings would get hurt. His feelings will get hurt. So he will decide not to go to the bath again. He will remain inside the kitchen, and he will not listen to it. So one day what happened? Another funny incident happened. And the writer says he actually boiled himself alive. There was an incident due to which monkey almost boiled himself. What happened? A large kitchen kettle had been left on fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a while, until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time, until grandmother arrived and hauled him half boiled out of kettle. So one day what happened? The writer and the family members, they had kept a large kettle on fire, because they wanted to make tea for the family. And there was water inside, and it had started boiling. And the monkey had no idea that the water which was inside the kettle was going to boil after some time, because he did not know the purpose. So what he thought, the kettle has been kept just for taking bath for the animal. So what he did, he removed the lid of that kettle, and he just jumped into the kettle, because the water was not very warm. It was not very hot. So for some time, when the water was not very hot, everything was okay. He started playing with water. He will come out, he will go down, he will come out, he will go down. So he continued to do this activity for a few minutes, and then water started boiling, because it was kept on fire. When it started boiling, he had no idea how to come out, but he still kept on enjoying his this bath. So what happened? He continued hopping up and down for some time, and water was kept on boiling, and he was not able to come out. So we do not know how much time he would have spent there in cattle, but the grandmother suddenly arrived when she noticed the condition of the monkey. It was already half boiled, so she hauled him. Hauled him means to take out somebody from a place by pulling his hand, जिसको कहते हैं हाथ से खींच कर निकालना. When the monkey was pulled out, he was already half boiled. If there is a part of brain especially devoted to mischief, this part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunt came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress or tear a hole in it. As we know, it's a common tendency which is found in monkeys, in these kind of animals. Whenever they find anything or they grab anything and they get anything in their possession, they try to cut it, they try to eat it with their teeth. So, and like I said, monkeys are very intelligent, and intelligence is something which is controlled by a part of the brain. So the writer says, since the monkey was very mischievous, so I believe that the part that control the things like intelligence, that part was highly developed in monkey. So whatever he would do, whenever any would come near to him, he will grab a hold of their dress and, like, was it sari or suit or something, and he will always make a hole in it. So one day, this next paragraph also mentioned a very funny incident that happened at writer's place. One day at lunch, a large dish of pulao. See, pulao is written as P-U-L-L-A-O, and since it's an English word, so there is no English substitute word for it. It's a Hindi word. Pulao is a Hindi shabd. So this is how the spelling is made. A large dish of pulao stood in the center of the spelling C-E-N-T-R-E. This spelling is an American English, and in British it is written as C-E-N-T-E-R. So both the spellings are correct. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward, received a glass of water in her face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao, made his exit through the window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree. Jackfruit means kathal. The dish still in his arms, he remained there all afternoon, eating slowly, though through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. So one day what happened? There was a lunchtime and there was a large dish of pulao. It was kept on a dining table in the center in the house of the writer. So the writer and the grandfather, when they entered the room just to see where Toto was, they noticed that Toto was actually stuffing, he was eating rice from a bowl. When the grandmother noticed, she screamed, she started crying. And when the monkey heard her cry, he threw the plate at her and he just ran away from there. One of the aunt tried to stop the monkey, but what the monkey did, in aggression or something, he just threw a glass of water on her face and just ran away from there. When the grandfather arrived, what this monkey did, the dish of the pulao through which he was eating, he picked this dish of pulao and he just ran away, ran outside just through the window. And what he did, and there was a jackfruit tree inside the house of the writer. He just climbed onto the tree and he remained there all afternoon. For several hours he will remain there. He had this ball of rice into his hand. He kept on eating rice from the ball. And he remained there for a very, very long time. And later on, since the monkey was annoyed with the grandmother, the monkey decided to throw this dish, the ball of the rice, onto the ground. So what he did, he dropped that ball of rice onto the ground from the tree, and it was broken into several hundred pieces. Obviously, Toto was not sort of the pet we could keep for long. Even grandfather realized that we were not well-to-do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes and curtains and wallpaper. So the grandfather found the Tonga Driver and sold Toto back to him only for 3 rupees. Since the writer says we were not well-to-do family, that means we were not very rich. And since the monkey was such an animal which used to cause a lot of damage and a lot of things that he had destroyed, the clothes, the dishes and the curtains and wallpapers, he had caused a lot of damage to the house. So the grandfather decided that since they were not very rich, they were not able to afford these losses that used to happen very frequently. So everyone decided together that the monkeys should be sent back to the original owner of the monkey. So who was the original owner of the monkey? The Tonga driver. Since the writer used to live at a very small place, Dehradun is not such a big place. So after a few efforts, after a few days, the grandfather was able to find that same Tonga driver. And he convinced the Tonga driver to buy this monkey back. So after discussion and dealings and whatever it was decided that the Toto should be sold back to the Tonga driver. So the grandfather told the Tonga driver to keep this monkey with him, and he paid him for 3 rupees. The Tonga driver paid only 3 rupees for the monkey, and this is how the monkey was sold back to the Tonga driver. This is all about the story. I hope you like the story, and if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, please ask in the comment section. And this video is available in Hindi also on the same YouTube channel, CBSE Simplified. So for Hindi medium students, if you have any doubt, if you are not able to understand this video, there is a same video for the same chapter is available in Hindi also for Hindi medium students. Thank you very much for being with us, and have a nice day.